It all began with whispers, then headlines, and finally the arrest reports. Davis found himself back in legal trouble, accused in a civil lawsuit of battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and emotional abuse. Allegations this severe would shake any public figure, but for a world champion already fighting off critics who say he's losing focus, they're devastating. His upcoming mega fight against Jake Paul, an event designed to bridge traditional boxing with the influencer era, suddenly hung in the balance. The announcement had sent shockwaves through the sports world. Gervonta Tank Davis versus Jake Paul was supposed to be a cultural spectacle, a collision of pure athleticism and viral fame. For some, it was genius marketing. For purists, it was blasphemy. A decorated world champion stepping into the ring with a YouTuber-turned-boxer was the clearest sign yet that boxing had become as much about clicks as competition. Still, both fighters seemed to know the game well. They weren't just selling punches, they were selling moments. But just as the hype began to peak, Davis's legal troubles exploded across headlines. Promoters scrambled to contain the damage, coaches clammed up, and Jake Paul's camp announced an internal investigation. For days, no one knew whether the fight would proceed. Fans began to speculate online, some calling it a PR stunt, others claiming it was the inevitable fallout of Tank's reckless lifestyle. Reports from sources close to the promotion hinted that the fight, once set for November 14th in Miami, was quietly being postponed. For boxing fans, it was another heartbreak. Many had hoped this matchup would revitalize interest in the sport, blending the entertainment appeal of social media spectacle with the brutal authenticity of professional boxing. Instead, the dream seemed to be crumbling before it even began. Critics like Carl Frosch called it a farce, questioning why a champion in his prime would waste his time fighting a celebrity when he could be facing elite opponents like Shakur Stevenson or Teofimo Lopez. Frosch's words cut deep, echoing a sentiment shared by many in the boxing community. Tank Davis, one of the most gifted fighters alive, was chasing money instead of history. Yet beneath the criticism lies a more complicated truth. Davis, like many modern fighters, stands at the crossroads of legacy and profitability. In an era where spectacle often outweighs skill, can a boxer still afford to fight only for respect? The lure of a $50 million payday is hard to ignore, especially when paired with the kind of exposure that Jake Paul brings. For Paul, the fight promised validation. For Davis, it was about empire building. But when the legal smoke rose, everything changed. The arrest and lawsuit cast a dark shadow over Davis's public image. Details emerged about alleged domestic incidents, painting a disturbing picture of violence behind closed doors. His silence didn't help. While his coach maintained that Davis was doing great, the lack of a personal statement left fans and critics filling in the blanks. Social media erupted with divided takes, some defending him, others condemning him outright. It wasn't just a PR issue anymore. It was an identity crisis. Meanwhile, Jake Paul and his team at Most Valuable Promotions remained cautiously quiet. They released a statement condemning all forms of violence, saying they were reviewing the situation before moving forward. Behind the scenes, however, the financial stakes were enormous. A Netflix-streamed fight between Paul and Davis could have rewritten the blueprint for modern boxing promotions. Both men stood to gain millions, but now that payday was at risk of vanishing overnight. The absurdity of it all wasn't lost on fans or commentators. How did boxing get here? Where a YouTuber could negotiate fights with world champions, and where viral relevance mattered more than title defenses. The weight difference alone made the matchup a spectacle. Davis, a lightweight who fights at 135 pounds, was preparing to take on Paul, a man walking around at nearly 200. Even with exhibition rules and heavier gloves, the physical disparity was glaring, but so was the appeal. It wasn't about fairness. It was about fascination, and fascination sells. Millions were ready to tune in, not to see the sport they loved, but to witness an event they couldn't believe was real. Paul's critics wanted to see him finally humbled by a real fighter. Davis's detractors wanted proof that his power could carry beyond his division. It was the perfect setup, a drama bigger than boxing itself. But like so many of today's viral spectacles, it was too unstable to survive reality. When the dust settled, speculation turned to blame. Some accused Davis of self-sabotage, saying he was too consumed by fame and fortune to focus on greatness. Others saw it as a media hit job, another example of public figures being torn down at the height of their success. Whatever the truth, one thing became clear. Tank Davis's greatest opponent might not be in the ring. It might be himself. Jake Paul, for his part, stayed in the headlines. He's been both the villain and the innovator of modern boxing, drawing audiences who wouldn't otherwise care about the sport. For all his bravado, few can deny his work ethic. His bouts against Tyron Woodley, Tommy Fury, and Anderson Silva may not have earned him respect from purists, but they proved he was more than a sideshow. Now, facing Davis, or whoever comes next, Paul's journey continues to challenge what boxing can be in the age of social media. But the irony is hard to miss. Davis represents tradition, talent honed over decades. Paul represents disruption, fame turned into business. Together, they embody boxing's civil war between purity and profit. The fight's uncertainty reflects the sport's identity crisis. Is boxing still about proving greatness or just selling it? As the investigation unfolds and promoters scramble to salvage what's left, fans are left wondering if this matchup will ever happen. And if it doesn't, what does that mean for the future of boxing itself? Will legends like Davis return to fighting real contenders? Or will the line between athlete and entertainer blur beyond repair? Because beneath the noise, one thing remains undeniable. Gervonta Davis is one of the most talented fighters alive. His power, his timing, his explosiveness, they're all real, but so are his demons. And until he learns to conquer those, no opponent, Jake Paul or otherwise, can truly define him. The world of boxing thrives on redemption stories. Whether Tank Davis can right his own remains to be seen. But as the lights dim and the cameras fade, one truth echoes louder than any punch. Discipline, not fame, determines legacy. What do you think about this chaotic situation? Has Gervonta Davis sacrificed his reputation chasing money, or is he simply playing the game modern boxing demands? And if the fight does happen, can skill overcome size, or will Jake Paul's confidence prove too much? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the stories shaping the world of combat sports, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.